Hello, hi there. This is Nadia from Publications. I'd like to welcome you to today's live Q&A session. Hi, Chris. I'd like to welcome Christoforos.
Hello, Nadia. Hello, I'm Chris from and nice to be with you.
Nice to be with you all. We're here today for your questions and answers. First webinar of the year, first live Facebook Live, not webinar of the year. We're used to doing webinars. This is why we say webinar. And we're here to answer your questions. We already got some questions from colleagues around the world. And let me start with the first one. If you have more, please write underneath in the comments. Write to us your questions, your comments, what you want to say about this new year, about what you have decided to do, in what way you have decided to change your teaching, some New Year's resolutions. Chris, what do you think? Have you made any New Year's resolutions?
Actually, there's going to be a talk that I'm going to be having. I think that we're going to be having a talk dedicated to New Year resolution. So I'm going to save that for the next one coming up. So I'm going to start to, let's say, make that a bit more intriguing for participation.
Okay, so let me go directly to the audience's questions. Some fellow teachers from around the world, we have an international audience, have sent us some questions. Let me start with the first one. It says, what lessons did you take from the pandemic that you will keep in your teaching practice? And if you can think of anything positive COVID brought to us. Well, the pandemic has certainly been a challenge for all of us. Chris, I want you to answer this question too, because I know you're a very positive person. You will think of something nice. We need to start the year with positive thinking and smiles and enthusiasm. And what I will definitely keep in my teaching practice for the future is using digital materials, digital components, online materials that I know at the beginning was kind of difficult to get familiar to and accustomed to for lots of you. But now that you probably all have used the platforms, the digital components for a long time, I'm sure you realize how much time we economize in our teaching through these materials, and how how convenient these components are, because they're at the tips of your fingertips. The information, the songs, the sounds, the animations, anything you need is there, easy to find and easy to share. And it's very user-friendly because our students love searching online, communicating online. They love these chat groups that they have with the class, the whole class. I think I will keep this even after we go back to face-to-face, full face-to-face teaching, no masks, no fear, no pandemic. What will you keep? Chris, what do you think? I think I will keep this
for sure. I think that it would have taken me much longer.
What will you keep? Chris, what do you think?
It would have taken me much longer. For sure. I think that it would have taken me to be able to come up with these activities via the apps if I were to not be in this haste of making use of them. So definitely, I think that this is something that has made me a bit more motivated to start getting into technology and making use of these the apps. And at the same time, also, I think that you, as teachers, from what I have discussed with colleagues, is that we have had the opportunity to see the value of the real communicative activities. That is, especially in these online subjects, you had to replace a lot of homework assignments, let's say, that you would be able to check with your students if they have done them through the online, through a speaking communicative activity. So I think that this is basically what it has really contributed to.
Yeah. Thank you.
As a consequence, yeah.
Time for another question. Chris, there's a teacher who says, I love warm-up activities, but they end up taking more time than I had estimated. How can I round this part up and move on to the next one?
Okay.
So when warm-up, well, it has to do with time management, doesn't it?
That's what I come to think about. Well, first of all, I mean, it's good when you've got your students start to speak. I mean, that serves the purpose of what you have included, that warm-up activity, to get them intrigued and participating in what you want to do in the lesson. I'd say it has to do with time for sure, and have in mind the necessary that connector that's gonna be more or less like, okay, let's move on to this picture, let's move on to the main part of the lesson by focusing on this picture. So it has to do, apart from having prepared that warm-up activity, maybe I would add that connector that will serve as a lead into the main part, the reading text, let's say, for example. Yeah.
Okay. Now, next question says, students seem a bit rusty after all this time with online teaching. How can I bridge the gaps? Well, I understand your question when you say it's a bit rusty, because I know with online teaching, students sometimes they left the camera, they went to the kitchen, they had a snack, they went to the toilet, they missed a bit of the lesson. Plus, if they don't have anyone with them, they tend to, I don't know, play Fortnite or get absent-minded, kind of. They might have an open TV watching video clips there. You can't be sure about these things. So most colleagues, I've discussed this with other teachers, and they agree that the level of the students is not what it should be. Like finishing, let's say, grade C is not the same now than what it was 2 years ago. That students had to attend classes, the teacher was there was actual interaction, there was face-to-face exchange. Now that students were alone at home for a long time, they kind of got a bit absent-minded or lazy, I could say. So we'll need to make an extra effort with enthusiastic fun activities, let's say, include more fun activities, more speaking, more group work to involve them, engage them, to participate into interaction, into communication, like language-wise, okay? And try to make it fun using games, songs, using videos. For the older students, introduce the topic with a TEDx talk, the introduction of a TEDx, or a video clip they like and discuss what is presented in this song. Use fairy tales. By the way, one of the future webinars I'm about to present next month is on fairy tales and the moral values we can teach through fairy tales for primary students. But we can show short stories.
I would add to that, to what you mentioned, also share some maybe of those exercise tips that you learned during the quarantine, for example, since they're rusty.
Yeah. What about the fun activities? Christopher, we have another question that says, is it better to start or finish a lesson with a fun activity? What do you think? Is it better for the beginning or the ending of the lesson?
Okay, well, in you know, in a utopian classroom setting, what I always imagine is that we would like, ideally, every student to leave the class with a smile, right? That's that would be ideal. And it's not easy to be the case. Well, unless you don't assign homework. But no, we advise that you assign homework, of course, not a lot of homework. But I think that, first of all, okay, we got to take into account if we are going to include a fun activity, then we have to consider the age group, right? It's a different fun activity that you need to come up with for younger learners, different for teenagers, different for you know, young adults. Due to the fact that I'm gonna actually connect this with the previous question, which is all about coming back to the classroom, and say that I think that maybe it is a good opportunity to leave the class and show their appreciation for the fact that they are back in school and in class. So do an activity as or maybe assign every student an activity that has to do with group work, which requires physical participation. It can be also something that they like to do, or they. You can also, something that would work would be like including this outro to the classroom activity, to the lesson activity, by assigning it as a project to a different student or a different pair of students, and come up with a short video that you were gonna broadcast to bye-bye salute their classmates. So it depends. I think that what I would say is that definitely we would like our students to leave with a smile from the lesson. So without saying that it should not be the other way around and start off with a fun activity again. It depends also to a great extent, what is it that they had in the previous lesson. If they come already from a gym class, and they probably needed something more like a settler, right? To be able to control them somehow. Yeah,
that depends definitely on the lesson that you're teaching. I'd say, why not do both? Like, start with a fun activity and end with a fun activity. So let's say surround the lesson of English, put the positive boundary, so they know that when they have fun, English starts, and they always finish with something that is fun, and they are looking forward to the next lesson. Our lessons shouldn't be so much about learning the rules and memorizing endless lists of words and vocabulary, checking lexical items. Of course, this is part of our work, but I mean, a language is a tool for communication, and it should be seen as such and should be taught as such. So I was teaching some primary school children. And because I am now preparing my talk on fairy tales, I am using fairy tales very much these days to see how they react, get feedback from the students, etc. So I realized that acting out the story or part of the story or only their favorite role was something fun. And so what I did is I assigned for next time to prepare a short theatrical play to stage in class. So now they are looking so much forward to this. As we were leaving the class, they said, well, you know, miss, I will be Ali Baba. I will be Kasim, his brother. No, I want to be the wife of Kasim. I want to be the wife of Ali Baba. I will be the thief, like the chief of the thieves. And you know the story. So they're now looking forward to this. And I know that if I just assign some words, you know, for memorization, it wouldn't be as fun. So let's include funny and fun activities as often as we can. Well,
all right. Well, I think Time's up, right? So
We're running
thank you,
out of time.
Nadia.
Thank you, Christopher.
Looking forward
Thank
to
you,
your
teachers,
webinars.
for your questions, for your participation, for
Thank you.
watching us. We're looking forward to the next Facebook Live.
And of course, to the webinars that are going to be conducted by Nadia, Greg, and everybody.
Christopher and our colleagues, our international colleagues.
Exactly.
The editorial and other departments and other collaborators we have around the world. So until we meet again, we want to wish you for this first Facebook Live, have a healthy and wealthy school year. For those of you who are starting school now, Happy New Year to everyone, and stay motivated.
Happy New Year to everybody.
All stay together and exchange ideas. Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye from us.
Bye-bye.